Hello everyone and welcome to... This is Asia, and here's Pakistan. Now let's have a look, shall we? The geographical area known to us as Pakistan housed one of the world's very first civilizations, that of the Indus Valley. Those ancients who populated it remain highly mysterious. How they governed themselves and what their religion was, or even the identity of the language they spoke, are questions that have no definite answers. What is certain, however, is that it was a very clever, very advanced civilization, not simply in its art and craftsmanship, but also in urban planning. Its cities were very sophisticated in terms of infrastructure and organization, and boasted impressive drainage systems where sewage could be washed well away from the nostrils of citizens. The Indus Valley civilization eventually unraveled and ended because of reasons, and was followed by the Vedic period, named after the Vedas, ancient religious books written in Sanskrit, from which the religion of Hinduism would later emerge. Now, the 500s BC saw a conquest by the Persians, who took over and ruled until Alexander the Great invaded and took their empire for himself. After his death, the Indian Mauryan Empire claimed the region, but Greek rule continued, with both the Greco-Bactrian and the Indo-Greek kingdoms. Then the Scythians invaded, then the Parthians of Iran, who built this Buddhist monastery, then the Kushan Empire, led by the nomadic tribes of western China. Then the Persians returned, whose rule was disrupted by invasions like that of the Huns, until finally crushed in the year 711 by the invading Arabs, who brought the religion of Islam, which would eventually come to dominate the region. But the invasions were far from over. It seemed everyone wanted a piece of Pakistan. Everyone except this little bird, perhaps. No, I bet even this bird invaded at some point. Didn't you? Didn't you? Anyway, now the Turks swept in. Then the Hindus had a go at it. Then more Turks. And then the dynasties of the Delhi Sultanate. This tomb of a Sufi saint built in Pakistan during this time shows the mingled architectural influences of many cultures who had reigned in the region, from Hindus to Persians to Arabs. Anyway, all the invading eventually died down and Pakistan could... Whoop! Nope, Mongols. Whew. Anyway, like I was saying... Oh, come on! Anyhow, after the empire of the conqueror Timur faded, one of his descendants sallied forth out of Uzbekistan to do some conquering of his own. Thus began the Mughal Empire, which presided over South Asia for 3 centuries. Of all the Islamic states to rule in India, this was the greatest and grandest. The taxes gleaned from increased agricultural output and a thriving textile trade generated immense wealth for the elites, who built marvelous structures such as this magnificent mosque in the city of Lahore. Mughal India's apex of power was achieved under Aurangzeb, a conqueror whose reign saw India become the world's largest economy. After his death, however, the empire began to decay. Land was lost to the Afghans, then the Sikhs, then there was a ruinous Persian invasion, and all the while the Hindus were rising up and retaking ground. The dishevelled Indian subcontinent was like a ripe mango ready to be plucked, and it was the British who stepped up to grab it and assume paramountcy in India. Railways were constructed, and the town of Karachi became a major city and commercial hub. Now, seeing that there were far more Hindus in India than Muslims, Muslim intellectuals began arguing for the need of a separate state for followers of Islam, and concern for the representation of Muslims in government spurred the creation of the All India Muslim League. Muhammad Ali Jinnah became the party's leader in 1913. While he had hoped for Hindus and Muslims to live amicably in one state, he eventually favoured separation. There was simply too much animosity between adherents of the different faiths. As World War II ended, bruised and battered Britain prepared to relinquish India, but preferred it not to be split apart. Their plan to keep it intact was rebuffed, however, and in 1947 the country was partitioned into 2 independent nations, India with its Hindu majority and Pakistan, west and east, with their Muslim majorities. Chaos arose as Muslims in India migrated to Pakistan, and Hindus and Sikhs in Pakistan moved to India. Horrible violence in which hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions, were killed, and the resentment only worsened with that most ubiquitous of strife makers, land disputes. The region of Kashmir was ruled by a Hindu who chose to join his princely state to India. Problem was, the majority of the population was Muslim. Thus, both sides claimed the region. And what do you think happened next? That's right, Jung, which is Urdu for war. The conflict ended in a ceasefire, with India in control of the larger share of the land. The next political headache concerned a dispute between West and East Pakistan over language. The people of East Pakistan spoke Bengali, but West Pakistan sought to impose Urdu as the one and only national language. After years of conflict, the government gave the okay to official officially recognizing the Bengali language. But this didn't really help unify the two Pakistans. There were simply too many differences, and the East ended up fighting the West for its independence in 1971, which it gained. Thus, East Pakistan became Bangladesh. And as for Pakistan itself, since it had attacked India in the midst of the hostilities, there was another war between the two, a very short one that India prevailed in. Under Prime Minister Bhutto, Pakistan launched its nuclear program, but he was overthrown in a military coup and executed. Under President Zia, Pakistan's economy grew, as did strict state-sponsored Islamization, which nonetheless did not prevent a woman from becoming Prime Minister, though she was later assassinated. In 1992, Pakistan won the Cricket World Cup, but in 1999 another war flared up against India, in Kashmir again, and once more, Pakistan's ambitions were frustrated and no new land was acquired. In the years that followed, the country had its ups and downs as all nations do, and Pakistan today possesses a developing economy and, facing the number of challenges that it does, is ranked low in the Human Development Index, meaning more reforms are needed to iron out the creases and smooth out the path for the future. A future hopefully filled with more excellence, for Pakistan has done great things in fields ranging from science to literature to sport, and we can't forget about that food either. So best of luck to Pakistan, but as for me, it's bye for now. Bye-bye!